Good evening, you all. I'd like to call this board meeting to order for North Wasco County School District 21. I'm Judy Richardson. I'm the vice chair. The chair, Jones, is not with us this evening. Please rise as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Elledge, would you read the mission, vision, and values for us?
Good evening. The mission statement: educating each student to the highest standard while motivating them to reach their fullest potential and graduating them to be college, career, and life ready. Our vision statement: our schools are a place where children belong. Each student is known by name, strength, and need, and provided the education and opportunities to achieve success. Our values: striving for equity, inclusion, and belonging, celebrating diversity, engaging the community, supporting the whole child, promoting and achieving academic excellence.
Thank you. The consent agenda is included in your packet. It consists of routine items such as previous board minutes, routine personnel actions, and routine financial transactions. Normally, there's little discussion in these items, but we can pull them out. The consent agenda as written.
I move to accept the consent agenda as written.
Thank you, Director Nelson.
Second.
Thank you, Director Vaught. All in favor to accept the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstaining? The consent agenda is accepted as presented. Number 5, the board action calendar is here. You have the board action items for March and April, and I would just like to remind the directors to please complete your individual superintendent evaluations by April 9th. We will review those during executive session April 11th. Are we ready for student and staff recognition? Excellent. Do we have a presenter for that information? Oh, yes. Thanks, Stephanie.
We'll give it just 1 second to see if he can bring up our slide so you can see the wonderful faces of the folks that I'm talking about. So bear with me for just 1 second. All right, well, I'll go ahead and get started. So our first student that I would like to recognize tonight, notably, all 4 of the students we are going to recognize tonight are from the Dallas High School. We did not plan that. It just happened that we had multiple exemplary students coming from TDHS this month that we thought that we would recognize. The first that I would like to bring up is Colin Schechter. Colin is a senior at the Dallas High School and was recently awarded the most esteemed scholarship from Oregon State University, which is the Presidential Scholar Award. This is a scholarship that is offered up to $40,000 and a $10,000 yearly renewing scholarship. It has over 3,000 applications yearly and just over 100 students in the state are actually awarded the scholarship. So this is a tremendous recognition, not only for his outstanding achievements educationally, but to his other attributes as a volunteer and his other activities, which you will hear later about tonight, because he's also a member of the Dallas High School Robotics Team System Overload that you are going to be talking about a travel request later tonight that are on to Worlds later next month. And wherever Colin decides to go, I'm sure they will be very lucky to have him. And as a Beaver, I hope that's OSU, but you know, just pitch that. But other than that, we just wanted to give Colin a shout out for being one of the presidential scholars at OSU. Okay, I'm going to do better at reading my notes this time. So the next student that I wanted to recognize is a sophomore at the Dallas High School, Young Kim. This year, the opportunity to design the iconic poster for the Dallas Cherry Festival was given to students at the Dallas High School as part of the school's advanced graphics program. This initiative was brought to the Cherry Festival and the Chamber of Commerce by our career and technical education graphics teacher, Leah Ferguson. And after a rigorous competition, Young emerged as our winner and has a stunning design. If you can't see it, it is up on the screen, and I'm sure you'll be seeing much more of it in this coming month that captures the essence of this year's theme, which is Cherries on Broadway. This collaboration not only showcases the exceptional talent of our young artists in our school district, but also strengthens the bond between our community schools, area chamber, and larger community. And I just wanted to add in a note from her teacher, Miss Ferguson. All of the students did a great job with their designs, and I was thrilled for Ah Young when her submission was selected. It is rare for one of our underclassmen to have their designs chosen when we have these collaborative community opportunities, and the experience she's receiving is invaluable. I appreciate the Chamber's willingness to partner with us in providing real-world opportunities is important to helping our students build real-world success in their futures. So congratulations, Ah Young. Okay, the next student that I would like to recognize tonight is another the Dallas High School senior, Mayette Winwood, who was recently named the Youth of the Year by the Dallas Area Chamber of Commerce at their Distinguished Citizens Banquet. This prestigious recognition is a testament to Mayette's exceptional dedication to service and leadership in our community. Mayette exemplifies the spirit of giving back and has been an active member of our community throughout her high school years. Not only is she the executive head of our entire student body, but she also serves as the head of the Student Life Department at TDHS. And in this role, she leads a team of individuals who directly impact our school's culture. Notably, Mayette played a pivotal role in organizing the TDHS Giving Tree Initiative this year, which provided invaluable support to numerous families across all our elementary schools. Additionally, she was instrumental in bridging community opportunities with our student body through her involvement with the ASB. And I just want to end with a quote from one of Mayette's teachers. Mayette is an incredible force for good. It is rare to find someone as dedicated to bringing joy and magic to the world around them just because they want to. And unfortunately, Mayette is a busy girl, and she is competing in a track meet tonight. So we wish her all the best, and hopefully things go well there, but she's not able to join us tonight. Last but not least, a junior. So we've pretty much checked off almost all of our grades here, is Elizabeth Arceo Dorado, a junior at TDHS, who was recently named the recipient of the Aspiring Activist Award by the Oregon Association for Bilingual Education. The Aspiring Activist Award, presented annually, celebrates high school students who have demonstrated a commitment to practicing cultural competence, developing bilingualism, and promoting diversity and equity in their communities. This prestigious accolade reflects Elizabeth's exceptional efforts in advocating for other multilingual children and families in the Dalles. The OABE seeks to honor the efforts of these youth, as well as to promote leadership pathways that encourage aspiring activists to continue making a difference for multilingual children and families in our state. And unfortunately, Elizabeth, who is also very busy, is currently volunteering up at Dry Hollow conferences. So thank you for donating your time to help out our younger kiddos with conferences tonight. But on behalf of the entire North Wasco community, I just want to extend our heartfelt congratulations to all our honorees tonight for their remarkable achievements. Their success serves as an inspiration to their peers and is a testament to the incredible talent and potential within our students and our schools.
Thank you, Stephanie. And I feel I can speak on behalf of the board. We're so very proud of our students and these four, especially who are highlighted today when they go out into the world and present D21. Just makes us so proud. Our student representatives are not with us this evening, but I would like to remind the public that we will have an opening when our senior graduates in June for a junior to come onto the board as a student representative. We really appreciate their insight and input advising the board. Building student representative reports. The Dalles High School. Is Kylie Jepson here?
Hello, my name is Erica Wheelan. I am a senior at the Dalles High School and I am the current ASB Executive Secretary. And I will be doing an overview of what is going on. This week was the first week of trimester 3, and all students are starting new class schedules. The school has also added principles of athletic training. This is our new course for CTE program that will teach students how to study health occupation. For last trimester, winter sports, boys basketball team finished third in district and played in the 4A states playing game. Girls basketball also finished third in the league and played in the 4A state playing round. Boys wrestling, John Brackenbury got third in district and competed at state. And Alexander De La Torre finished third in district and fifth at state. As for our cheer team, they finished second in the state. Spring sports, they have begun, and tonight girls tennis is away in Pendleton and boys are hosting Pendleton at the Dalles High School courts. And both started at 3 p.m. Track is also away tonight at Sam Barlow High School and events started at 3. For seniors just finished his local scholarship season for the year, and in the next few weeks, the scholarship committee will be deciding who will be the qualifying candidates. As for ASB, coming up in the future, we are planning an Earth Day celebration with Chenoweth Elementary School, and we're also planning our Spring Spirit Week, and in May, we will be hosting a community fair on Amaton. ASB is also about to start the new elections process for next year's ASB.
Thank you, Rico, for stepping in for your peers. Then we have Innovations Academy. Innovations Academy, do we have Eleanor Young and Riley Stocks?
Okay, Riley got sick, so I'm just gonna do both our parts. We've recently started trimester 3, so we'll recap how trimester 2 went. We had our spring bazaar on March 2nd, 2024. We were able to raise funds for our school through it. The 7th grade class and culinary class also had booths to fundraise for supplies and field trips. We'll have another one in December. As we wrapped up winter trimester, we had a fun day celebrating all the students' hard work. We also started a school tradition of staff versus students tournaments. We had a high school and middle school team that played against each other, and then the winner was able to play the staff in a kickball game. We will continue this into the spring trimester. As for trimester 3, we are in the process of planning a middle school dance that will occur in May. We are preparing our school for a beautification day that will take place on the week of Earth Day.
Thank you, Eleanor. Do we have Nathan Corson from the Dalles Middle School?
Nathan's not here, so good evening, everyone. My name is Mireille Ortiz, and I'm currently ASB Spirit Leader at the Dalles Middle School. Recently, we've been up to some fun activities now that spring is here. Last week, we had a pep assembly where we had some lovely volunteers singing the national anthem. And this week is also Spirit Week. Our days this week are Comfy Day, Star Day, Country vs. City, Hat Day, and Color War, which is split between houses. A houses will wear orange and B houses will wear green. And those who are wearing the corresponding colors will get to participate in a friendly dodgeball game tomorrow during their homeroom. As of yesterday, 8th grade is in first place with 170 dress-up points, 7th grade in second with 129, and 6th grade has 89 points. Apart from Spirit Week, we are also planning and looking forward to our school-wide talent show in April. The prizes we decided on were that first place will get Domino's pizza delivered during their lunch, second place will get some Wildcat gear, and third place will get a dozen cookies, and we're very excited to see everybody's talents. This week, we also had our lockdown drill, and we were told that it was our best drill yet. And thank you to the school board members who were there with us. Recently as well, the 8th graders completed their forecasting for their upcoming freshman year at the high school. And with spring break coming up, we have some very excited kids who are ready for the week off and ready to relax on some warm days with the weather finally clearing up. We also wanted to mention wrestling and how they had a great season this year. We had 3 wrestlers go to state this year: Tony Fanini, Adrian Miramontes, who placed 3rd in the boys division, and Kiana Dominguez, who placed 6th in the girls division. And while on the topic of sports, track season is also starting soon after break. And to end, we just wanted to give a shout out to all of the substitutes, to which we've had quite a few recently, and we just wanted to thank them for stepping in. Thank you and have a nice evening.
Thank you, Mereda. Next, we have Chenoweth Elementary School. Do we have Paola Ornelianos and Camila Barajas of Velavedinos?
Hola, soy Camila.
Hello, I'm Paola.
Si has notado, yo y Paola cambiamos quién habla en español y inglés para dar un descanso a Paola.
If you notice, Camila and I changed who speaks Spanish and English.
El tema de este mes es cooperación. ¿Coopera usted bien como junta escolar? Estamos trabajando en Chenoweth.
This month's theme is cooperation. Do you cooperate well as a school board? We are also working on this at Chenoweth.
También estamos aprendiendo sobre ecosistemas en clase.
We are learning about ecosystems in class. Miss Stutzman taught. Where living and non-living things come together to form a community.
¿Sabías que estamos trabajando en el diseño de un nuevo parque infetal? Nuestro club de padres, Cougar Boosters, estamos trabajando en un proyecto con CGCC y la escuela secundaria para diseñar e implementarme un nuevo patio de juegos junto a nuestro árbol gigante. La semana pasada, ASB ayudó a diseñar cómo se verá el patio de recreo. Échale un vistazo. Los alumnos de 4 y 5 grado también irán a CGCC para verlos hacer la obra maestra, que desafortunadamente nosotros, como alumnos de 5 grado, no podemos experimentar.
Did you know that we are working on designing a new playground? Our parent club, the Cougar Boosters, is working on a project with CGCC and the high school to help design and implement a new playground by our giant tree. Last week, ASB helped design what the playground would look like. Check it out. 4th and 5th grade graders will also go to CGCC to see them making the masterpiece that unfortunately we as 5th graders will not be able to get experience.
Tenemos un club nuevo de artesanía después de escuela con Miss Stanley cada jueves.
We have a new arts and crafts club after school with Miss Stanley every Thursday.
¿Sabes qué significa DLI? Inmersión en 2 idiomas. Si esté interesado en obtener más información sobre nuestras clases de DLI, únase a nosotros para una noche de comida y información. El martes 23 de abril de 5 a 6:30 p.m. en el gimnasio.
Did you know what DLI stands for? Dual Language Immersion. If you are interested in learning more about our DLI classes, please join us for a meal and information night on Tuesday, April 23rd from 6:30 p.m. from 5 to 6:30 p.m. in our gym.
Nuestro chiste del día en Spanglish es: what do you say when your dad leaves for the city?
Okay.
Ciudad.
Our joke of the day is, what do chickens serve at their birthday parties?
What?
Coop cakes.
Esto es todo de Chenoweth.
That's all for Chenoweth. We are very excited for spring break next week, and as we say every day at school.
Y como decimos todos los días en la escuela,
Together we are better.
juntos somos mejores.
Thank you, Paola and Cornelia. We're actually going to talk about how the board cooperates. We should probably call our board operating agreements, board cooperating agreements might be better. Okay, next is Dry Hollow Elementary School. I have Charlie and Lydia this evening, am I right? Sweet.
Good evening, North Wasco County District 21 school board members and administration. It is a pleasure to be here tonight to give our monthly report to you. Lots have been happening at Dry Hollow in the past month, and since Jackson deserted us this month for no less than a basketball camp, I brought my friend Charlie Meter along to help with the report.
Thanks for allowing me to help you tonight, Lydia.
Well, it's great to have you. Jackson has been getting on my nerves a little anyways. Well, enough of that. Let's get started. Dry Hollow students started out this month of March with their word of the month assembly. Our word of the month is accountability. That's a long word. I'm not sure who I should hold accountable for coming up with that word. Well, we all learned that accountability means taking responsibility for our own actions. We all need to do that.
All of the upper grade students have been working hard to meet their AR goals. The Masons, bless their little hearts, have donated 2 bikes for the school to give away to 2 lucky winners that have met their reading goal and entered in the contest. The 2 lucky winners were just drawn. They were Lindsay Smith and Mateo Sanchez. Congratulations to both. They'll both have a new bike to ride around during the spring break.
This first week of March, we all celebrated Read Across America Week. Miss Corey created a schedule of fun days for us to take part in. Monday was Fox and Socks Day. Everyone wore crazy or mismatched socks to school. On Tuesday, we had Who Hair or Lorax Mustache Day. Wednesday was Character Con, and several students dressed as their favorite book characters. Mr. Kaiser was going to come as his favorite book character, Captain Underpants, but I'm glad he decided not to at the last minute. Thursday was Cat in the Hat Day. Everyone wore their favorite hat. Finally, on Friday, we had School Spirit Day. The school was awash in blue or yellow. Or was it gold? I'm not sure.
In the past month, the Dry Hollow students have earned over 1,505 points. So Mrs. Lloyd has promised them a game day. Tomorrow is game day.
Our OBOP team competed in Odell last week at Y East Middle School. They took third place. Congratulations to the team members. They were Miley, Solana, Marcella, and Sean.
The Dry Hollow Student Council has planned some fun events for April. They're working on a poster contest during Earth Week on conserving natural resources, a pet photo contest for the school, and a sock hop for 3rd through 5th grades.
Well, that's the scoop from Dry Hollow for March. Before we go, here's a joke for you that we liked. Why did the nose not want to go to school?
The answer is because he was tired of being picked on.
Thanks for listening. Happy spring. Enjoy the weather and have a good evening. You deserve it.
Thank you, Charlie and Lydia. Thank you. Next, we have Faith Miramontes and Haiti Harris from Colonel Wright Elementary.
Hello, my name is Faith Miramonte.
Hi, my name is Hattie Harris. I'm a 4th grade student at Colonel Wright.
We are here today to speak to you about what has been going around at our school. There was a regional OBOP competition on March 17th in Hood River. Unfortunately, they did not win. They got dead last. They tried their best and showed up for CWE.
The symphony was so fun. We went to lunch at the park. We saw Myths and Mythology. We saw sculptures, there were lights and art. We were amazed by the last song. Thank you, PTO, for this trip.
We also had a milers club. Every certain mile you get, you win a prize. Usually a bracelet. Once you get 100 miles, you win a bracelet and a little plastic trophy.
Parent conferences were on Tuesday the 19th to today the 21st. They are an opportunity for kids and parents to know their progress and grades they get for the second trimester.
We also had an expanded lockdown drill. Some officers came down to the school and escorted us to the gym. And then we had an assembly. They talked about our safety and how important it is to practice a lockdown. Then we were dismissed to our classrooms.
The 4th grade classes won Penny Wars in February. We all raised $1,338 for an extra shade for our playground. Wow. Some people think mom stands for made of money. Maybe they're right. We got an ice cream party for our prize.
The 5th grade had a field trip to Mount Hood, and then we learned about plants and animals too. And speaking for the whole class, it was really fun.
The kinders took their first field trip and went down to the Dallas Visitor Center in February, and they got to see eagles, owls, and then they got to look through scopes and saw more eagles.
The Civic Auditorium held the Peter Pan play. It was a big hit, and we had several students from Colonel Wright in the play.
This week at Colonel Wright, we celebrated Diverse Readers Week. Students had the opportunity to hear read alouds from our diverse book collection. A Guess Who game where teachers wore pins with female leaders on them for students to guess, and a color shirt week. Monday was green for spring. Tuesday was blue for inspiring genius. Wednesday was red for Colonel Wright cooperation. Today, Thursday, was yellow for building positive friendships. And tomorrow, Friday, will be tie-dye to promote world peace.
The book fair was a success. We did a total of $5,528 in sales. That means we earned $2,764 in scholastic dollars for our school. Oh crap! Callie was here for the from the Playworks program. She is a specialist for District 21. She came to visit us at CWE on the 29th of February. She spent time teaching us of two tag games, banana tag and watch your back tag.
Finally, we have spring break. Just one more day of school. Woohoo! By the way, why did the girls study the tree? To get a higher education. Okay, board members, have a great night. Bye.
Does anyone have any questions for our students, their presentations? I'd like to say thank you to all of our students on behalf of the board. We really love hearing from you, both what's going on in your school and how you're involved in the community. So thank you. You're very brave to come and talk with us. We don't have staff reports from D21 or Northwest Education Support Professionals this evening. So we'll move on to the school board subcommittee reports. Scholarship Committee, Director Winelage.
No report.
Thank you. Community Outreach Team, Director Aparicio.
The team did go, 4 members of the team went to Washington, D.C. Earlier this month. So the debrief for that trip will happen at our meeting next Tuesday. So I'll be there and I'll have a more full report next month.
Thank you. I do not have a Wellness Committee report. Is there an Equity Committee report? Director Winelage?
No report.
Thank you. Wasco County Forest Collaborative, Director Nelson.
Yep, there is a report. So at our last meeting, a good deal of the time was we invited the Blue Mountain Forest Partners, which is a collaborative in the Blue Mountain area. So different geography, locations in the state have forest collaboratives partnering with the Forest Service, and we all do it differently. So we, from time to time, invite somebody outside of our region to talk about what they're doing, what problems they're having, what successes they're having. This group was in existence really in this very same time span as the Wasco County Forest Collaborative. And so since their inception was at the same time, and they're still a collaborative. So this is a little bit of what they said. They are a diverse group of stakeholders who work together to create and implement a shared vision to improve the resilience and well-being of the forest and the communities in the Blue Mountains. They're there to engage in advocacy, science, and economic education to advance the achievement of forest and community resilience. Their approach is somewhat different than ours, but it's intriguing. So that's why we invite other collaboratives to talk about how they do things, because we can learn from that and improve our own performance. So their approach is to learn what the landscape needs are, or actually what it needs to be resilient, and address those with scientific informed, collaboratively developed restoration treatments that target landscape resilience in a manner that contributes to the socioeconomic vitality of the area's communities. They use an issues-based approach rather than a traditional project-specific one, which is kind of what we do, where we respond to different projects in the Forest Service. So they believe in treating the landscape as a partner to understand the broad landscape perspective. Timber becomes subservient to the landscape needs. So they figure they'll have a more vibrant, resilient forest if they pay attention to what's important most. What does the landscape need to be resilient and to thrive? And if they achieve that, they're going to get that economic benefit from the forest. So their success are as follows. Increased trust and understanding has resulted in considerable increases in the pace, scale, and quality of ecologically informed active management on the Malheur. reduced wildfire risk, increased timber volume, and service work that strengthened and diversified the county's natural resource sector. In 2006, the status quo was absolutely unacceptable in their communities. Fires were rampant. Industry was failing to derive economic benefit, and the communities were suffering. So the first project they had was in 2009 in the John Day Basin. It took 3 years to reach agreement on 7,000 acres of treatment. Now, agreement has been reached on 30 to 40,000 acre projects in half that time. That's how much improvement they've made in their work in the forest in that region. Recently for us and elsewhere in the state, Senators Merkley and Wyden have secured $35 million from the federal government to fight wildfires and create more resilient national forest lands in the state. The Wasco County Forest Collaborative has gained much experience in partnering with the U.S. Forest Service on projects such as the insect and disease projects efforts. Another project is the 27 road fuel break project that fuel break that used a new category exclusion policy intended to simplify rules in order to focus on forest treatments that would slow down future fire and give more time for firefighters to safely put out wildfires. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Nelson. I do not have an OSBA Legislative Policy Committee report. Do we have a D21 Education Foundation report, Director Nelson?
Yes, we do. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about 3 different sections or compartments in the D21 Educational Foundation milieu. First, the administrative report. Rebecca, she's our executive director, has met with Pat Saplett, the ESD superintendent, and Dr. Bernal and others to discuss moving forward with the health center for the Dallas High School. She's met with Laura Matzer at the Discovery Center about using our grant advance program to find grants to support the secrets curriculum for upper elementary and partner with the district on nature-based education classes to help provide field trips for the students. She has had a conversation with staff member at Dry Hollow to create a mini grant in the name of Brenda Coates, a retired reading specialist from Dry Hollow who was recently killed in an automobile accident, who was also a personal friend of mine. The school would pay for a mini grant, but would run the account through the G21 Foundation. A vote was taken and approved to accept Chenoweth Elementary as an affiliate of the foundation so that donations to the school could be accepted under the 501c3 and consistent accounting would be assured. In another department of our foundation, the Booster Club reported that Quinton Ballpark and 16th Street softball park dugouts at both fields have permits to be rebuilt. The dugouts are being constructed by TDHS students using funds from the sale of property purchased for students to build a house on years ago. The house was never built. We just had the property, which we sold. The club approved a payment of $891 to purchase a new double canopy cover with graphics for the cross-country team. And in the Scholarship Foundation, they reported a total of $2.3 million in assets. So far, $88,000 has been dispersed, plus $20,000 in renewable scholarships. And April is the month to confirm scholarship recipients. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Nelson. That brings us to new business, presentations and reports. Chief Financial Officer's report, Cara Flath.
Hi, I was pretty late on sending your financial report, so I apologize for that. I'll start with enrollment as a piece to go into that this particular month. We're at 2,799. Last month, we are 2,806. So we're 7 students less than the month before. If you look at the trend, when we started in September, we were at 2,854. So we have, downslided quite a bit, 55, which doesn't sound like much, but when it equates to funding, which I'll roll into in the financial report, it does add up. And they also use all the weights on it, right? So I always wish I had good news, but there's not a lot of change in grade level when you look at the second page. So is there any particular questions on enrollment? I'll just go right through that. Okay, so financial summary, it looks good now at this point in the year. And I put in your write-up the ADM, which has been my concern even early on in the year, is that the biggest struggle that school districts have is meeting the projected enrollment that you have. And then the second one is meeting the local revenue that you project from 2 years ago. So those are two leveling things that the state of Oregon does. I don't know if you remember, in January, our state school fund went up just a smidge. So what they do is this early on enrollment number that they project if they think you're going to be on target. Well, come January, they thought we would be above our target, which was good, right? Come this month, just a few days ago, they sent us our new state school funds balance, and it is about 1.3 million less, which is hurts. That's a little painful. We have already applied for the TANS loan, which you'll see the resolution and all that come this next month. Previously, the year before I got here, the district did have TANS loans, and we went through that cycle is what I'm going to say. So you get a loan, you pay it back in the next year, and then you get a loan at the end of the year, and then it rinse and repeats. So it looks like that's the pattern. That's probably going to happen until we can make that dent on it, right? So the issue with next year is going to be, one, mitigating what enrollment is actually going to look like for next year, the impact that this year is going to have, and then also remembering that we do still have ESSER money that we are paying for staff. So we still have 1.2 million that we're spending this year. So early on, when I say the budget is highly concerning, like that funding cliff is just going to keep coming, and it will. So the struggle is, all the staff that we have and all the expenses that we have, a good 85% is personnel. That's just a fact. So the only impact we're going to be able to make next year is going to have to be in staffing. One, if you give raises, and then two, if you're going to mitigate what ESSER has and this particular impact, and then projecting forward what enrollment might look like next year. It's a tough balancing thing. And even though we're up from the year before, we're not up to where we expected to be. The other impact that happens this year is our local revenue is not as high as what I was anticipating. That will come back around. And I can't discuss with ODE, hey, our local revenue didn't come in as high as we thought. I doubt they'll adjust it, but that will come back around when they do their balancing in May of a year later, which is kind of frustrating. But having said that, and I put in there, you have, it's really going to be a discussion of reducing expenditures. How do you maximize the resources that you have, and how do you get through this end of this year and then figure out the impact the next year? So I've already met with Randy. As you know, this is my last school board meeting. So Randy will be taking over on Monday. I am moving to Eugene at Lane Community College. So it's been great to work with you all. So I hate to leave the budget in this particular situation. I've already discussed with Randy, and he has plenty of mitigation strategies himself because he's way more experienced in this particular arena than I have been. I think he had 13 years before I got here. So is there any questions about that particular piece, which is a heavy piece? Okay. I put in a couple of comments and notes in there that just for your information, as far as nutrition and facilities and what we have happening with transportation. And I'll let you read through that. Any other questions? Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Cara. The next thing on our agenda is the board attorney's report. Jason, Corey, do we have a report?
I don't have anything for the board tonight.
Thank you. This moves us on to discussion and action items. The first action item in your packet is approval of the board operating protocols as presented. I like them as board cooperating protocols, but I'm not going to make a motion for that. At the March 14th, 2024 work session, board members reviewed the current board operating protocols and made some minor amendments. If you recall, we had some inclusive components of our student representatives for those bits that they can be included in. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the board operating protocols as presented.
A motion to approve the board operating protocols as presented.
Thank you, Director Rott. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Director Nelson. The approval of the board operating protocols has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, let's go ahead and do a roll call vote. Director Lopez, Director Winelich, Director Nelson.
Aye.
Director Vaught, Director Aparicio, and I vote aye as well. The approval of the board operating protocols is adopted as presented. Thank you. The second action item is to appoint the budget committee members. Do we have a presenter for that, or is it just in our packets?
So we have some positions that are either expiring or have become vacant. The term for Molly Rogers is expiring. However, she'd like to stay on, so it would be a renewal through 2026 for her. Then we have another vacancy by Miss Begay. Oh, sorry, by Miss Mendoza, because she's now one of our employees, so can't be on our budget committee. And the recommendation is to approve Jared Gossin, who was applied the last time around, as you know, but is kind of like a runner-up or backup person. So the recommendation is to appoint him into that position. And then we'll remain with a vacancy. Lucille Begay will be vacant. And we're actively working to see if one of our members from our equity committee will agree to serve on our budget committee, as that is also a requirement through policy that we have somebody from our equity committee serve on our budget committee. And we have to have that in place by 2025. So the recommendation is once we secure that person, we can bring that back and the board can approve that person at that time.
Thank you, Superintendent Bernal. So the board action is to appoint Molly Rogers and Jared Gossin as budget committee members. Is there a board director who will make a motion?
Yeah, I'll move to appoint Molly Rogers and Jared Gossin as budget committee members with 2-year terms from March 21st, 2024 until June 30 of 2026.
Thank you, Director Aparicio. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Director Nelson. Any discussion about the budget committee members?
Just one thing, Molly and Jared, they're okay with that, right? I mean, if somebody checked out that they want to do that. Okay.
They're not being
Just checking.
voluntold. Good point. Excellent. Any other discussion? I'll take a roll call vote. Director Lopez.
Aye.
Director Winelich. Director Nelson.
Aye.
Director Vaught.
Aye.
Director Aparicio.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The board action to appoint budget committee members is approved. Next, we have an action item for out-of-state travel request, TDHS Robotics, Principal Evans.
Good evening. Good evening. So yeah, this is an out-of-state travel request, but you're okay, I just want to take a second to recognize our robotics team in the process, as a lot of you guys know that have been on the board a while, they have, especially the group of seniors, the 3 seniors, Jack McAllister, Colin Schechter, who you met earlier, and then Ian Castaneda. They're seniors this year. Their team, System Overload, has just, they dominate every tournament that they've been in, the state level, the national level, and then under the world tournaments the last couple of years, just done incredible things on a very little national and world stage. So they're going to be traveling to Worlds. They went to the state meet along with the younger team. And I want to make sure I get the names right. So Jack, Ian, and Colin are the older team, their System Overload. The younger team of sophomores, mostly sophomores and 1 junior. They also went down to the state meet. That's Evelyn Schechter, Everest Leonardson, Zach Banks, and then Kim Morales Cortez. And as a dual team, they were tournament champions at the state meet, and then System Overload, the older team, they won the, I believe it was the Excellence Award that they won down there. Yes, and that's the highest award, highest honor that you can receive down there. And then System Overload also won a Build Award as well. So those are the 2 teams that are requesting a travel. We're not quite funded as well as we were last year with grant funding. So most of it will be fundraised by the team. They're about halfway there. We've got a lot of generous donors in this community that are helping them out, businesses and things like that. So they will get there without any problem. The school is contributing a little bit to it with registration. And I'll just make a note that there is a middle school team traveling. They're technically don't need your approval, but I just wanted you to make aware. We do have a middle school team going. That's a 4-H team that's totally sponsored by them, but doesn't require your approval. Just the high school does because they'll be missing 3 days of school as policy. So anyway, thank you for listening and recognizing the robotics team and just requesting out-of-state travel. And again, it's to Dallas, Texas, and it's, I believe, April 24th-ish, I should say in there. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's that last week in April. So I'll answer any questions if you have any, but that's the request.
Any questions for Principal Evans? Thank you for sharing their success. We're super proud of them and very excited to hear about where they'll go on to after graduation and hope they come back here to advise robotics teams. Yay. Just a reminder for the board, we're not approving their budget. As you heard Principal Evans, they're fundraising for their travel. We're just approving the students to be absent, which is required by our policy. When students are absent more than 2 days or any out of country travel for any length of time, they need approval from the principal, superintendent, and the board. So I'll entertain a motion to approve out-of-state travel request for TDHS robotics.
I'll move to accept the out-of-state travel request for the TDHS robotics teams as presented.
Thank you, Director Aparicio. Is there a second? Thank you, Director Lopez. It's your roll call vote. Director Lopez. Director Winelich. Director Nelson.
Aye.
Director Vaught. Director Aparicio. And I say aye as well. Good luck to them. The final action item is approval of printer copier machine contract. Cara, do you have something to present to us?
This particular request is to approve. We have an expiring contract with US Bank for copier services. So it's to replace it with one of the Omnia partner purchasing agreements, which is Solutions Yes, which they also have a local maintenance person that will come and provide same day service and is expected to save about $50,000. They will also buy out our printer contract, which doesn't expire till March of 2025. So just requesting approval.
Thank you. Any questions for the CFO?
Carl, you say $50,000 savings. Is that one time or is that per year looking forward?
It's per year because it's based on it's a lower cost for both the printers and the copiers in combination. So that should be yearly and it should be a minimum. I think there's a paper in there that they listed how they get to that. We went over it in pretty good detail and picked it apart and it's pretty valid. We do pay a substantial amount. We probably pay $16,000 a month for printers and copiers right now.
Thank you.
Other question? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the CFO to enter into an agreement for leased equipment.
Move to authorize Chief Financial Officer to enter into an agreement for leased equipment and services with Solution. Yes.
Thank you, Director Vaught. Is there a second? Thank you, Director Aparicio. A roll call vote, Director Lopez. Director Winelledge. Director Nelson.
Aye.
Director Vaught.
Aye.
Director Aparicio. And I say aye as well. The motion passes to approve the CFO to enter into a contract for the approval of the printer and copier. Okay. Next, we move on to second readings and adoption on school board policies. The first policy is GCBDB/GDBDB, early return to work. The changes to policy GCBDB and GDBDB, early return to work opportunities, commission guidance in your packets. There are no changes except for the yellow highlighted section from the first reading. Any discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt policy GCBDB/GDBDB, early return to work.
Thank you, Director Nelson. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Director Lopez. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, let's do a roll call vote. Director Lopez. Director Winelledge. Director Nelson.
Aye.
Director Vaught. Director Aparicio. And I say aye as well. The policy is adopted. GCBDB/DDBDB. Okay, the next one. Policy IGAI, human sexuality, AIDS, HIV, sexually transmitted diseases, health education. A new Oregon Administrative Rule 581-021-0593 requires public education providers, which include school districts, public charter schools, and education service districts, to provide information on menstrual health and must include this information in their health and sexuality education. As a result, new language has been added to policy IGAI. There are no additions to the first reading. Is there any discussion?
I would like to have a little discussion on this. I have concerns specifically with the last paragraph added to this policy, and I understand that this language is derived from the OAR. So with respect to our district value statement, and the understanding that student achievement, which is our main purview as a board, that can be tied so closely to a student's self-image and their health. I just have concerns that we would have policy language that inserts us as a board or as a school district into conversations and decisions that I think should be left between students and their parents and guardians.
Thank you, Dr. Vaught. Any additional comments or discussion?
I agree with Director Vaught as well.
Thank you, Director Winellich. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Do you just have a clarifying question? No. So the language and the paragraph that's kind of been identified, do we know if that is language taken directly from the OAR, or is that language just that has been put in for the policy?
That is language directly out of the OAR.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you for the clarifying question. Any additional discussion?
So are we as a board, we're obligated to have this policy? And what would be the repercussions if we did not have this policy or we change that?
Can you hear Director Nelson? Okay.
Well, not including it would mean that we're not in compliance with the OAR.
Okay.
Question, can we put additional verbiage to say that we can leave it up to the parents to decide, as that will keep us still following this, but if a parent has an issue or concern, they have the right to say no to this?
I think that's an excellent question, but that would be more in the legal realm that I would turf to our advisors.
And if I understand correctly, and Principal Evans could speak to this as well, but parents do have the option to opt out. Is that correct? I know it's a health class, but I believe parents have an option to opt out of certain things. Do parents have the option to opt out?
Of health and human sexuality education, Principal Evans.
Thank you.
Always, yeah.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Thank you.
My advice to you would be to stick to the OAR language. It sounds like there are a couple of you that have some concerns about it, but ultimately that's what drives our compliance and our funding, and if we start to deviate from that, risk of running afoul of them. So
Thank you,
them that
Counselor.
give us the money.
Other discussion? Is there a motion to adopt? Oh, go ahead.
So with
Oh.
that, I'll move to.
Actually, I have a question. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
sorry.
John. So in regards to a parent wanting to abstain their child from this, where do we have that language written, or is that part of the, there's a separate, I don't remember. If
That's
there's a separate-
communicated with them ahead of it being discussed and or taught.
Like in
They receive a notification
Okay.
and or letter. Yeah.
Okay.
And they have the
Okay.
option to opt out.
Okay, all right, okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, I move to adopt policy IGAI, human sexuality, AIDS, HIV, sexually transmitted diseases, health education.
Thank you, Director Nelson. Great discussion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Director Aparicio. I will go ahead and call a roll call vote on policy IGAI. Director Lopez,
Aye.
Director Winellich, Director Nelson,
Aye.
Director Vaught,
No.
Director Aparicio, and I vote aye. Board policy IGAI, human sexuality, AIDS, HIV, sexually transmitted diseases, and health education is adopted. Thank you all for your candor and your free sharing of your opinions and your voice. The next policy is JHC, Student Health Services Requirements. New language has been added to policy JHC, which refers to existing rules related to school nursing services and responsibilities. This is the second reading. There are no changes from the first reading. Any discussion? And if there is none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt.
Move to adopt policy JHC, student health services and requirements.
Thank you, Director Vaught. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Director Aparicio. Any further discussion? I'll take a roll call vote. Director Lopez. Director Winellich. Director Nelson.
Aye.
Director Vaught. Director Aparicio. And I vote aye as well. Policy JHC, Student Health Services Requirements, is adopted. The next one is policy CB, Superintendent. With the passage of Senate Bill 1521 in 2022, there are new provisions in law to consider when issuing a superintendent's contract and when district school boards are making decisions related to the operation of the district. You have the policy in your packet. There are no changes from the first reading. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt?
Yeah, I'll move to adopt policy CB, superintendent as presented.
Thank you, Director Aparicio. Is there a second? Thank you, Director Nelson. Any further discussion? I'll take a roll call vote. Director Lopez.
Aye.
Director Winellich. Director Nelson.
Aye.
Director Vaught. Director Aparicio. And I vote aye as well. The board policy CB superintendent is adopted. The next one is policy DBEA budget committee. Senate Bill 732 was passed in the 2021 legislative session requiring districts to establish an educational equity advisory committee. The bill outlines the responsibilities and makeup of the committee. For districts with an ADM over 10,000, the committee must convene no later than September 2022. For districts with an ADM of 10,000 or less, the committee must convene no later than September 15th, 2025. At least one member of the Educational Equity Advisory Committee needs to be appointed to the Budget Committee. This would happen when a position becomes open. It does not establish an additional Budget Committee member. We heard about this a bit earlier, but we need to adopt this policy. There are no changes from the first reading. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt?
Yeah, I'll move to adopt policy DBEA, budget committee as presented.
Thank you, Director Aparicio. Is there a second? Thank you, Director Lopez. Any further discussion? I'll take a roll call vote. Director Lopez. Director Winellich. Director Nelson.
Aye.
Director Vaught.
Aye.
Director Aparicio.
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The policy DBEA Budget Committee is adopted. That brings us to our final policy for consideration, policy CPA layoff and recall for administrators. House Bill 2001 and 2021 changed the laws regarding reductions in staff for teachers. This law also changed the definition of teacher to be used in the layoff process, now ORS 342.120. This change requires districts to consider cultural or linguistic expertise when implementing a reduction in staff. House Bill 2001 applies to contracts entered into, renewed, or extended on or after September 2021. You have the policy in your packet. This is the second reading, and there are no changes from the first reading. Are there any, is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt.
I move to adopt policy CPA as presented.
Thank you, Director Lopez. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Director Nelson. We'll take a roll call vote. Director Lopez.
Aye.
Director Winellich. Director Nelson. Director Vaught. Director Aparicio. And I vote aye as well. The policy CPA layoff and recall for administrators is adopted. You have in your packet for information only policy GCBDA/GDBDA-AR1 family leave. Internal procedure changes based on recent FMLA leave changes. You can see pages 6 of 13 in the packet. This is for information only. This brings us to comments from the audience about agenda and non-agenda items. We received one written comment, which will be entered into the public record. Any person speaking during the designated portion of the agenda for public comment may offer objective criticism of district operations and programs. The board will not hear comments regarding any individual district staff member. The board chair or vice chair will direct the visitor to the procedures in board policy KL complaints for consideration of a legitimate complaint involving staff member. A commendation involving staff member should be sent to the superintendent, who will forward it to the employee, a supervisor, and the board. We have one person who's signed up for public comment, Katie Kelly. You'll have 3 minutes to speak with the board.
Good evening. I'm Katie Kelly. I have some questions regarding an article that I read recently, which I think was the district's response to the union presentation from last month, where they were talking about the staff and just I think the article said like there was like a cry for help, or maybe that's not how it was put, but just that the staff were really kind of suffering from just the long-term the student behaviors that they were dealing with in the schools. And I'm just really wanting to hear some tangible things that are being done. And I did read some really lovely things in the article that I think have been implemented. But I also just was left with a lot of question. And I think some of the solutions that were offered as solutions, I don't believe that they're actually solutions. The vice principal roles, I think those were created because the dean of student roles were dissolved. So the deans of students at the elementary schools, a lot of them were dealing with the student behaviors. That's what they were, that was their role. And those positions went away, and we created vice principal roles, and probably doing a lot of the same thing with a new title, maybe some additional qualification needed, but same responsibility. And we're offering this to the community as a solution when it's not actually a new solution. Same with the CELA position. The CELA position is not a new position, since the staff have been coming and coming forward to say that they're having these problems, not that they're struggling. So I don't see that as offering a solution to the community. I also read about this very collaborative effort, 34 parents, staff, teachers kind of coming together to address this issue. And I'm wondering what that is.
You have 30 seconds.
Thank you. I'm just wondering what that is. What is that hugely collaborative effort? Because I would like to be part of it. No, you guys can't answer me, but I would like to be part of it. And I'm wondering if it's the site councils. But we haven't been asked to address that. I saw it as part of our policy, but we were never involved in that.
It's time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, that's the last agenda item. Director Winellich needs to figure out how to turn off my phone. No worries. Thank you everyone for your time. This meeting's adjourned.